If I asked you to remember a moment from your childhood right now, you could probably do it. But what about when you were 1 year old, or the first few months after you were born? This is where something strange appears. You remember almost nothing from the first few years of your life, and yet those were the years when you learned to walk, you learned to speak, you learned to understand the world around you. So why didn't your brain save such important years, or did it save them, and you're simply unable to access them? In short, why exactly can't we remember our infancy? Think about it for a moment. How old were you in the earliest memory you can recall? Maybe it was a birthday party, maybe your first day at school, or perhaps a trip you took with your family. Most likely that memory doesn't go back any earlier than the age of 3, and that's not a coincidence. Scientists have given this phenomenon a name: childhood amnesia. In other words, the inability to remember memories from the first years of our lives. At first glance, this seems a little strange, because babies can learn, they can distinguish between people, they can recognize sounds, they can even be affected by the experiences they go through, and the negative ones can often lead to trauma. If they had no memory at all, they wouldn't be able to do any of these things. So the issue isn't the absence of memory. The real question is, if babies can form memories, where do those memories go afterward? Most of the answer lies in the development process of our brains. There is a region that plays a critical role in the formation of memories, a region we also mentioned in the previous video, the hippocampus. This region organizes the events we experience and converts them into long-term memories. However, during infancy, the hippocampus has not yet fully developed. In other words, our brains can receive information, they can experience events, but they struggle to preserve them in a way that we can access later in life. You can think of it as a massive library that is still under construction. Books keep arriving, the shelves keep filling up, but the catalog system hasn't been completed yet. As a result, finding those books years later becomes almost impossible. But the story doesn't end there. Scientists have noticed another interesting detail. During infancy, our brains change and develop at an incredible rate. New connections are formed every second. New neurons are created. Old connections are reorganized. The brain is working like a giant construction site. Some researchers believe that this intense restructuring may disrupt older memories. In other words, as our brains develop, some memories may become inaccessible. Another important factor is language. Now think about this. How do you store the memories you remember today? Most likely through words. You turn your experiences into stories. Who was there? What happened? Where did it happen? How did you feel? But babies have not yet developed an advanced language system. They can experience an event, but they cannot store it as a structured story in their minds. Research shows that memories become more permanent as language develops. This means that many of the things we experience during infancy may actually have been recorded. However, the tools responsible for organizing those memories had not yet fully developed. Now let's get to the most interesting part. What if our infant memories were never completely lost? Some scientists believe that those memories may still exist somewhere in our brains. Maybe the problem isn't that the memories were erased. Maybe we simply can't access them. Think of a file stored on a computer. The file is still there, but if you don't know the path to the folder, you can't reach it. Perhaps that's exactly what's happening with our infant memories. The memories weren't lost, we just lost the key that opens the door. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. Many of the things that shaped who we are today happened during those years for which we've lost the key. Our first bonds, our first fears, our first sense of security, the foundations of how we perceive the world. Most of these were formed during a period we cannot consciously remember, which means the most influential years of our lives may also be the most mysterious. The next time you look through old family photos, think about this. You may not remember those days, but those were the days that shaped you into the person you are today. Perhaps the most important chapter of our past is also the chapter we've lost. So what about you? How old were you in your earliest memory? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video.